It could all be so simple. I just needed to give myself a quick little pep talk. That was a message for me. This video is about simplifying the process of life. And then I was reminded of one of my favorite Lauryn Hill songs. I think it's called X Factor. Honestly, I need to say it out loud because I need to hear it. Like, I low-key might just like rewatch this video so that I can internalize the message around simplicity. The reason that I'm even doing this whole February sprint is because I don't want something as pure and beautiful as creating content and getting up here and doing what I do best, which is talking my butt off, to feel so complicated. So if I put myself in a position that would typically be very uncomfortable for me, where I'm creating enough content to post every single day. Now you might notice that my outfits are pretty much the same every like 4 videos, and that's because I'm definitely not recording the same every day. Like, I'm not one of those YouTubers that batch records and then changes outfits in between videos. Like, no. But my point is that, like, I want to be able to create at such a high volume that it takes the complicatedness out of the process. And I'm not just wanting this for my content creation process, I'm wanting this in life. It just put me on this reflective journey as of recently where I realized, like, I overcomplicate stuff so much. And when I say I overcomplicate, half of the overcomplication happens first in my head. I'm someone who can be a maximizer. And if you don't know what a maximizer is, I'll just ask you a quick question so you can figure out if you're a maximizer too. If you're on the airplane or if you're like scrolling on Netflix, and you see like all the movies or shows that you can watch, and you find one and you're like, oh, I really want to watch that. Do you click it and watch it? Or do you spend the next 3 minutes looking at what else is out to see if there's something better that you want to watch? And if you do the latter, then you're also a maximizer. A maximizer is someone who just wants to see all of the options before they determine what they want to do. And while sometimes it's cool because you get to like know that whatever decision you make is the best decision given the options, it's fine when the options are limited. So when you're looking at a menu, if you just see what you want, you're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm gonna order that. But if the menu is short and you just spend another 10 seconds glancing at everything else to make sure that you ordered the best thing, fine. But if you're at like the freaking Cheesecake Factory, that menu is like 100 pages. So now you're scrolling through all these pages of things, and it just is such a, not just a time sucker, but an energy sucker. This is the case for me in life where there's infinite options. So when it comes to making something as natural to me as a YouTube video where I get up and talk, that part is so easy. But then it's like, oh, what should I title it? Should I title it that? But wait, that title sounds better, but what about that? And it creates all of this analysis paralysis, and it just takes the fun out of the process for me because I'm like, should this be the thumbnail? Should that be the thumbnail? So I'm wanting to just focus on simplicity. And I realized, where does this need to overcomplicate come from? And I think that part of it comes from having parents who are immigrants whose lives and decisions were not straightforward. They did not have the privilege of things being uncomplicated because for them, a lot of things were complicated. Should I stay in Lebanon? Should I come to America? If I stay in Lebanon, this is what my life could look like. Whereas if I go to America, here are some potential opportunities. Okay, fine, I'm going to America. What state should I go to? This one or that one? And like, okay, there's a lot of other Arabs at this state. Let's go move to Dearborn, Michigan. What job should I pursue? Like, things, there was such high risk attached to the decisions that a lot of our parents were making, whether you're a child of immigrants or not. I think this is the case, is our parents had such high risk attached to their decisions. And so they had to be much more thorough. I know that I'm a very intentional person. I know that I'm somebody who does things from a place of alignment. I know myself really well. I know what I want. I know what I care about in life. And so because I have such a clear understanding of that, and because I'm in a position, thanks to my parents, where the decisions that I make, there's not such a crazy high like survive or thrive risk attached to those decisions. So if I decide this job or that job, It's not the end of the world one way or the other. So I don't have to spend so much time complicating that process. I realized, number one, I don't have to do that anymore. Number two, because I had gotten in the habit of doing that in the past as a learned behavior from childhood, it started applying to areas of life that don't matter as much. Like, what should I cook for dinner tonight? And it would just become this whole thing of like, should I cook this? Should I cook that? Well, I need to figure out what to get from the grocery store, so I need to make a decision. Usually I figure it out within 10 minutes, but that 10 minutes is stressful of like trying to make the best decision. And that's what it boiled down to, realizing that, why are you putting so much pressure on yourself? Why can't you just be more at ease? I had an experience the other night where, I was really needing guidance. I felt like I wanted God to show me some sort of sign and to give me guidance on my career path. I've been feeling really pulled to create more long form content where I'm just talking like this, but I think I was a little bit scared to do it and ultimately be as consistent as I wanted to be. So I'm like, I feel like I need a book. So I started looking through all my old books and I'm like, none of these are like cutting it right now. I feel like I need something fresh. A few hours passed by. Later that night, I'm literally scrolling on Instagram and some girl posts about Tabitha Brown's book. I forgot what it's called in typical me fashion, but it's an amazing book. She posts about it and I'm like, oh, well, would I want Tabitha Brown's book? Like Tabitha Brown, she does a lot of like recipes and vegan cooking and she's very wise and soulful, but I just don't feel like that's what I need right now. I don't need like a cookbook. And I'm like, let me just go see what this book is about. Maybe it's not about that. So I look it up and it's literally about like exactly what I wanted, which is being a visionary, having this purpose, having this career that you're chasing and, wanting to pursue and waiting for your dreams to unfold or trying to make your dreams unfold. So I downloaded the audiobook right away and I like told Ahmed I'm going to sleep early. I went inside, did my skincare, started playing the book. And within the first minute of the audiobook playing, she starts talking about how she weaves in recipes throughout the chapter. So the chapters are about her own personal narrative, but she'll throw in little recipes in between, which I thought was so cool. But she's like, and I know you guys keep asking me about measurements, and I just want you to know that if I had them, I would give them to you. I don't cook like that. I go by my heart and what feels right. And that's how I cook. So I'm not going to be able to give you measurements. And it hit me so hard because it was such a beautiful, beautiful reminder to trust yourself. And it helped me understand that I put so much pressure, and you might be feeling like this too. You put so much pressure on your decisions because you don't trust that you're going to make the right decision. So instead of following your intuition, following what felt right in that moment, or following your feelings at all, you try to gather so much information so that you can lean on logic, because logic feels safer because you don't actually trust yourself. And that was like a beautiful slap in the face for me, where I'm like, you're being pulled to do something, just follow that. Who cares about the details? You'll figure the details out later. Who cares about all of this like questioning of, do I know how to do this? Or am I gonna run into this issue down the line? Or is this what's gonna end up happening? Like, stop trying to forecast and predict and just trust the feeling that you've been given, because you've clearly been given it for a reason. It's such a test in faith, and that's why I'm trying to bring up this, like, it could all be so simple, but you'd rather make it hard. I truly don't think God put me on this earth for things to be hard. Like, there's a difference between hard and challenging. I'm all for the challenge. I love a good challenge. I literally pursue things because of the challenge. I started doing Pilates 2 months ago because I went to my first class and I sucked so bad. And there was something so exciting about sucking at something again, because I was athletic growing up and sports came easily to me. So when it came to going to the gym and all of that, things were challenging, but not for real. When I did Pilates, bruh, I almost fell on my ass so many times. I almost looked so stupid in front of everybody. And something about the challenge really intrigued me. So I don't mean to promote taking shortcuts or not pursuing challenging things, but there's a difference for me between challenging and things that are hard and unnecessarily complicated. And I'm trying to invite simplicity into my life as I do challenging things and as I work on things that take a lot of work, right? So it was a test in faith, because Clearly, God is pulling me in certain directions. Why am I scared to listen to that? If I'm feeling something, then that must come from somewhere else, because every other time I followed my intuition or my feeling, I was led in a better direction than the direction that my logical brain tried to take me in. Or maybe I didn't listen and I tried to follow that logical brain and do things in a very measured out manner. And I just ended up back where I was supposed to be anyway, because I'm not actually in control of these things. So this is kind of a spiritual message, and I know that someone needs to hear it. I know it's not just for me, but even if it is just for me, it's worth it, because I'm very, very, very excited to see what my life will look like when I just get rid of all the tangliness. Like, things don't need to be tangly and in this really hard to pull together knot. Things can be straightforward. What's right for me can be straightforward, and I'm so ready to embrace that. So excited to see what will happen on the other end of me just simplifying things that were otherwise complicated. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're down to try a more simple approach, or how you're embracing that in your life. I love you so much, and as always, stay powerful, my loves.